Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Google Digital Garage session for Build Your Business Brand Online. My name is Daryl, and I'm a trainer for the free skills training program, the Google Digital Garage. Let me give you a quick introduction of myself. As mentioned, my name is Daryl. I'm a digital learning specialist with over 4 years delivering digital learning experiences for a variety of learners and learning styles. I come from a diverse background within multiple sectors, but I have a huge passion for technology and to help close the digital skills gap that's so prevalent in our world today. But we're not here alone. We're very, very fortunate to have Zoe with us here today, who is also a Google Digital Garage trainer. And she can be located on the far right-hand side if you're viewing us through a laptop or a desktop, or should be just below if you're viewing us through a mobile device. Now, before we jump into today's session, there's a couple of housekeeping tips just to make sure we're all on the same page, because this is very much an interactive session. So we want to hear from all of you. So if you're watching this right now, please go ahead and pop into the chat and let us know your name and maybe where you're tuning in from. While you're doing that, a couple of housekeeping tips. First and foremost, if you're having any problems hearing me or seeing me today, please go ahead and refresh your browser. It normally irons out any potential problems. Next up, we love engagement. So in order for you to get involved with today's chat, you would be required to have a YouTube account. Relatively easy to get set up, or once you're all set up, you'll be able to fire over those questions to myself and Zoe, and we encourage that throughout the duration of today's session. Next up, if you'd like to have the closed captions, in other words, the subtitles for today's session, all you'll need to do is hover your mouse over the video. A couple of icons will pop up at the bottom right-hand side. You want to find a gear cog, and you want to find a button that says CC, in other words, closed captions, because you may notice I tend to speak rather fast. Maybe those subtitles will allow you to absorb the information just a little bit more seamlessly. This particular live training is part of a broader offering from the Google Digital Garage. So I hugely encourage you to click in the link in the description below. It'll take you to their website and give you a plethora of more information, online courses, and many, many more live webinars very similar to this. I've already seen lots of hellos within the chat, which is absolutely great to see. Let's maintain that. And on the note of questions, please pop in your questions within the chat. Zoe is ready and waiting to help you. Now, in terms of questions for myself, we will be having a slide at the very end of today's session. So if you have any questions, pop it in for the duration of today's session, and hopefully we'll get to that at the very end of the session. I think that's most of the housekeeping tips out of the way. I just wanted to quickly give a reference to a couple of hellos from Pop London. Hello to you. Katrina also saying hello. We've got Kalum, hopefully I pronounced that correct, all the way from Botswana. We've got Avase, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Hello, everyone. We've got Jonathan Robinson calling in from the UK. We've got Max calling in from London. Paul calling in from the sunny Devon. Yarid calling in from Ethiopia. Katrina is also calling from Germany. We got Sue Wei from Virginia. We got Kasia calling in from Canada, from the other side of the world. So it's beautiful to see that we've got people from all walks of life. We've got Anne Catherine also calling in from Kashim. We've got Anil from Bristol. We've got so many people. Please maintain that for the duration of today's session. But we've only got 60 minutes. So we're going to dive straight in and have a look at what are we going to be covering within those 60 minutes. Well, first and foremost, we're going to look at how we can build your brand guidelines. We're going to look at your brand guidelines from a standpoint of design and personality. And then we're going to look at we are going to be building up a mission and a vision statement. So make sure you got your typing fingers ready to go, maybe a piece of paper and a pen, because during today's session, you are going to create your own mission and vision statements. Next up, we're going to jump into bringing your brand to life across the web. We're going to start looking at perhaps a customer funnel and look at it from an awareness to a conversion point. But then how do we turn that funnel into a cycle that can be repeated? Then we'll look at the actual user journey. Well, not the actual user journey. We'll look at the purchase journey and look at how you as a business owner can start facilitating that process. And last but not least, we're going to jump into the tools to optimize your brand. We're going to look at insights and how we can get those insights. We're going to look at how we can tap into some trends. Then we're going to look at how we can schedule posts so you can focus on what matters most on your business so you can start posting on a regular basis. But I love the enthusiasm in the chat so far. We're going to start off with a question, which is what makes your brand stand out online? Or what makes a brand stand out online to you? So when you think of it, any type of brand, what makes it pop? What makes it stand out from the rest? Pop it into the chat. Myself and Zoe would love to know. There's a couple of more lows from Matt from Vigaria, from all the way from Dubai. We've got Proud, I'm Armenian from Armenia. We've got Orbi from Leeds, Carmen. We got Aaron from Vietnam. We've got Anishish Paul. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct, Paul, from India as well. We got Abdullah MOT. We got Hi All from Zoe, of course, and Paul. So Paul has mentioned what makes your brand stand out. We got color and style. We've got another one from Merzia, which is Abdullah. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Logo. And Katrina, personality. So I'm loving this. Make sure you keep popping that into the chat because that's really going to come to life very shortly. We got hi, concept, makes your brand stand out. Beautiful. Let's keep that up because I think as a combination, as a collective, as a member, there could be something you pop in the chat today that may resonate with somebody else. So let's jump into the first part, which is build your brand guidelines. Having an understanding of your online presence and how we can build this online presence is going to come down to your guidelines. And as many of you popped into there, Anil's design, Avisha, authenticity, all beautiful words to start bringing this brand to life. So let's first look at the benefits. A brand is a product or a business made under a certain name or identity. A brand is everything from your business name to your logo, communications, colors, and your product and service. Your brand is your business's personality. As a small business owner, you might find that there's an overlap between your business brand and your personal brand. For example, if you are a personal trainer, a handyman, or a tutor, for example, whatever the size and scope of your small business, it's crucial to have a brand. A brand can help your brand stand, a brand can help your brand, let's start that again. Your brand helps you stand out from other businesses. In today's online world, consumers are exposed with new brands every single day. Having a clear identity will help you recognize every time you are shown up on that given device or platform and in a more memorable way. Next up, you can build trust. Think about two hypothetical businesses. One has a very clear understanding of their brand and what they're looking to bring across from their website and their social media along with their products, opposed to a business that has no idea or isn't quite sure about what their business is about. Which one do you think you're more likely to buy from? Well, I most definitely are more inclined to buy from a business that has their objectives, they have their vision, they have their brand guidelines, they have all the answers displayed on their social media presence or their websites or any content that they published online. Last one is to increase loyalty. This is the beauty of having a brand, whether you're a small or large business. To buy loyalty, branding gives you your business a personality which customers can connect with, and good branding can appeal with emotions. And talking about emotions, we can use colors. Someone mentioned it already. Paul mentioned color and style. Is how do we use color to start evoking emotion? You can also leverage your brand trust and reputation once you've gained that reputation to offer a premium product and limited offers to those who are eager to be a part of your brand experience. So thanks very much for the first question. We have another question for you, which is, what do brand guidelines include? Pop it into the chat. We'd love to know. When we're thinking about brand guidelines, what are the type of things that we need to consider? Maybe, I think Paul's already mentioned it, is what colors in your brand, or what types of images, perhaps? Maybe you can have a style of images. Maybe what's the tone of voice you're going to use? What are you going to connect? How are you going to connect? So again, Kashi's colors are to be used. Jonathan, communication style. So what else do we have when it comes to those brand guidelines? We have creative direction from Anil. We've got Ushnish. Hopefully, I'm going to keep it as Paul. We've got fonts. We've got Yarid is perspective. Kasha, copy, important words as well. These are all great answers when it comes to brand guidelines. So the reason we're asking this is because your brand is something that you want to communicate about yourself or your brand online from a digital standpoint. You may all be watching this knowing what your business is about, but how do we then articulate that online? So how are we going to create your brand guidelines? We've broken it into two separate sections. We're going to look at your design, then we're going to look at your personality. So from those responses that we've got, one from Max, positioning, we've got Merzia, creative personality in choosing your brand, on the money there in terms of those brand guidelines. So first up, we'll look at the design points. So Those brand guidelines should include your logo, your iconography, and your hierarchy. Then we're going to look at your colors and the usage of that color. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that very shortly. Then the fonts that we're going to use. How many fonts do we use? Do we use 5? Do we use 6? Do we use 2? Do we use certain fonts that are aligned with our brand and what we're looking to evoke in terms of emotions? Then imagery style. Many of us are posting on content on a regular basis, whether that's on your website or on your social media platforms. Is there a certain style to it? Can we start curating a style that when someone looks at that image, they think, ooh, that's Kasha's business, or that's Anil's business, for example. Then we're going to look at the personality. Now, the personality of your business will be the tone of your voice. And you think, well, online, do we have a tone of voice? Well, yes. So how do we communicate that from a personality standpoint? The personality attributes along with the values. Now, again, a little bit later, we're going to be talking about your values, which will be very, very much connected to your vision and your mission statement. Last but not least, we'll look at your mission as discussed before. So with these in mind, these are the brand guidelines and the topics and the topics that we need to lean on to start thinking about building up your own personal brand guidelines or your business brand guidelines. So first, we're going to look at the design aspect. And this is one of my favorite parts about helping businesses is how do we design a brand that people are going to start feeling drawn towards in terms of the colors that they evoke, which we'll kind of jump into straight away, which is we're going to go back to the basics and look at the psychology of colors. Now, feel free to look at these colors right now and think about which color you would like to associate with your business. Of course, every person has their own connotations and experiences around color, but generally, these emotions will apply to most people that they see these colors for the first time. Take a moment right now. What emotions are you looking to evoke with your business? What colors are the most appropriate to your product and your service? Now, understanding colors is, we're not going to go into the depths of it, but I think understanding the fundamentals of colors and how we can evoke those emotions. Pop in the chat right now. Which one would you lean towards in terms of one color to kind of bring your brand, products, and service to life? I kind of lean towards blue, maybe because it's the color of my eyes, but I love the calmness. I love the spirituality. I love the security around the color of blue. We got one from Paul, sustainability, beautiful, green, calmness, freshness, neutral, and relaxing. We got Max, purple, leaning towards the creativity side, and royalty, mystery, and wealth. We got another one from Kasha, turquoise. We got Kandini is purple, beautiful. Hold on to that while we jump into the first part around how do we use those colors within your brand. So let's look at a couple of brand colors. There's a few things to consider when choosing and refining those brand colors. First, we need to decide how many colors do you want to have within your own color scheme. Quick research. Research has shown that people that decide if they like a product or not within the first 90 seconds of seeing it. And most of the decision is based on a product's color. Additionally, color increases brand recognition by 80%. So some of the most effective brands follow the 3-color scheme. The first one is going to be the base color. This is the most important color that will feature in pretty much most of your products, your services, your website, your social media, but it's going to be the base color that hopefully you will be associated with. The second one is the accent color. This is how do we make things pop? It could be a call to action. It could be some place where you'd like to draw your customer's attention to. It could be a button. It could be a part of the website. It could be a part of the image, but it's going to be an accent color. Then the last one to kind of bring them both together is the neutral color to tie the two previous colors together. So with this being said, we are not limited to 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 6 colors, but rule of thumb and kind of going on prehistorical brand guidelines, 3 colors would be ideal. Neutral, accent, and then base color. Coming back to the color wheel, next is how do we choose those colors? It could be difficult at times because some of those contrasts may not be the best contrast in terms of being accessible to those that are viewing, for those who are colorblind or for those who are visually impaired. So these are other considerations that we need to keep in mind. But the first one is going to be complementary colors. And those are the ones that normally opposite each other. So the colors that complement each other, like red and green, for example, or purplish and blue with orange. Then we have, again, purple and yellow complement each other, or orange and teal, or last but not least, we have purple and green. These colors complement each other. The next one is analogous, which is a little bit of a tongue twister, but analogous sits directly next to each other. So they have similarities amongst them. So it could be purple, there may be a darker shade of purple, or perhaps an orange and a lighter shade of orange, or perhaps a blue and a lighter shade of blue, for example. So far, complementary, analogous colors. And then the last one would be triadic colors. Triadic colors is essentially what it means. It's three colors that are normally adjacent to each other within those color wheels, and they're evenly spaced out. Now, don't worry, you don't have to remember all these names when you're looking to create your own brand guidelines. Just remember the theory behind them. So complementary colors will go very well together. And analogous was going to help you find something similar in terms of the colors that you're going to use. And then lastly, the triadic colors, if you're looking to create three colors to kind of bring your brand to life, that would be an option too. Again, there can be various ones. Let me quickly show you a few of those. Purple and orange, again, they're going to be adjacent or next to each other, and you can choose whichever. So another question, I told you this was going to be an interactive session. Out of those three colors, or the combinations of those colors, which one are you drawn to and why? I already know the answer for Paul because he seems to like green around sustainability. I have a preference towards blue. Again, could be the color of my eyes, but I love the blue and the neutral color of gray, which is very much a corporate professional level. The second one is a little bit more provocative, maybe a little bit more playful. So pop into the chat, which one do you think pops a certain emotion and why? Could be blue and gray, purple and yellow, or two greens for sustainability or calm or spirituality, for example. With that, we've got a couple joining there. We've got Paul blue on this combination for you. Thanks for that, Paul. So he's going to lean towards the blue and gray, very much a corporate, maybe towards his business. We got Shamarez. First is going to be service, security, and corporate. Love that. Anil, second one is less formal, but a little bit more creative. I completely agree with you, Anil. We got Paul. For me, blue and gray. I think there's a little bit of a leaning towards the blue and the gray, but beautiful. You've got the idea. Think about your own business. Think about how you can evoke emotions through your colors. Then we'll jump into creating images that suit your brand. Now, this can get quite creative, but the types of images that you choose will really impact how your audience how you connect with your audience. Images don't always have to be products and services that you're taking pictures of. Imagery can help the audience have an idea behind your brand, even without specific details about your product or your service. Using similar images throughout your marketing can help customers identify you and create a strong impression of your business. The first one, the most commonly used imagery, would be stock images. These are professional photos of either a general subject or perhaps a scenario. You can use stock images to have high quality visuals. And just a key note of this, Facebook posts with images see 2.3 times more engagement than those without images. For those that are posting on Facebook, make sure you're using images. When people hear, this is a really fantastic piece of information. When people hear information, they're likely to remember only 10% of that information 3 days later. However, if a relevant image is paired with the same information, people retain 55% of that information 3 days later. So photos, images are useful. A couple of resources would be Pixel or pixel.com, pixelbay.com, for example, or Canva. Next up, we have branded images. Now, branding graphics and images, these may not include photos, or they might include photos of your products and your logo. They could include illustrations of graphics that represent your product from a brand. And to keep the image authentic, you can take photos of your products and your business yourself. Just make sure that they are high resolution. A rule of thumb would be to be at least 300 pixels per inch. Next one is going to be, got a step ahead there, is infographics. Now, infographics are a great way to grab attention and represent pricing models, for example, or give instructions on how your customers can use your products. By using these infographics, it's going to allow it to bring it to life. And if they know how to use and buy your products, hopefully that will increase your conversions. Second but not last is GIFs and photos. There's a GIF on screen right now, but GIFs and photos are, and not all imagery needs to be static. It can include videos, JPEGs, or animations, and we'll look at a little way of how we can bring this to life. But the last one is something that may be on many of your minds is how do we use AI tools to generate images by simply typing in the words that you'd like to be shown. Say, for example, you have a new product launching soon, but you don't have any photos as of yet. You can use AI tools to create realistic, cartoon, or even stylized images for you. You can get really creative with this. Maybe you want to show a pizza that is out of this world. Well, you can create one by simply typing in the words, I want a pizza that's out of this world within one of those tools, and look what we have. A pizza that's floating in space. There are hundreds of tools out there for you to play with. Some are a little bit more advanced than others. The one that I would reference is probably going to be using Duet AI. Hopefully Zoe will pop the link into the chat. Duet AI is a tool we're going to be using within Workspace where you could create images directly within Google Slides to start ideating and coming up with your ideas within presentations. So I know we're going a little bit of a fast pace, but remember, we only have 60 minutes and we have lots of stuff to get into. So the next one is going to be, we've spoken about the design. We've looked at the logos. We looked at the color wheel. We looked at fonts and imageries that we could potentially use. Now we're leaning towards the personality aspect. So brand personality defines how it would sound or look if it was a real person. And that's where I'd like you to think about your own business. When we think about a tone of voice, how are you as a real person? Imagine your brand as an individual. Would they be energetic and vibrant like I'm being right now, or playful and sweet, or classic and sophisticated and elevated? In terms of appearance, how would they look? So it's a good idea to think about what personality of your brand would be. And I'm going to help you with this very shortly. But to give you an example of how we can define this brand personality, well, let's look at an example. So we have personality attributes of this person's brand, which is informative, but not overwhelming, energetic, but not dizzying, funny, but not sarcastic. Now, you may not be able to steal those, but a little bit later, we're going to do a similar exercise. We're going to put out a few words. You're going to start brainstorming them. And I want you all to come up with 3 of your own words to really start to form the brand guidelines from a personality perspective. And again, instead of talking about this, let's show an example. So here we have tone of voice is just shouting out at me right here, which is 2 different ways. But punctuality, style of speaking, and writing can be used to communicate about your brand. Now, in the photos that we see or the images, there's different fonts, there's different colors, and there's different wording, or there's there's different wording too. So look into these examples around noise cancellation headphones. What personality traits might you assign to these brands? Well, the one on the far side, which is the headphone company, work from anywhere, this one's a little bit more professional and sophisticated, while the second one, which has got vibrant colors, is more about being playful and youthful and casual. But on that note, there's no right or wrong here. The best part about this is you can be as creative as you like, but the most important thing to remember is who are you creating this for? Who is the audience? Are they young? Are they energetic? Are they professional? Are they in a corporate setting? So using colors and fonts and placements and wording will start to evoke certain emotions for a certain customer. Coming back to those words, I want you to pick out a few of these words. Defining your tone of voice is important so the customers know what to expect from you. It also helps you develop a relationship with them as the brand is more reliable. You might have a number of people that are working on your brand or that all have a different idea of how it should be. Defining a brand tone of voice can help you be consistent with your messaging. You may be a one-person show right now, but as your brand grows, you may have a team underneath you that you want to start bringing this brand to the world. We're going to make sure this is consistent by using the great tone of voice. So, Define your tone of voice. Start by brainstorming as many words as possible. So scan what you see on screen right now. Pick out a few words. It could be 5, could be 10, but just grab them. It's an iterative process. This is just going to have a look right now. From there, you're then going to whittle it down to just a few. And then you're going to whittle it down to even a few less. So grab as many words as possible, look at them, write them down on a piece of paper, type them up in the chat, however you wish. But by the end of the session, I want you to have 3 words that really starts to bring your brand tone of voice. While you're doing that, I'll leave that sit with you because there's lots and lots of words out there. And this is pretty much going to be something that you'll do a little bit later after today's session. While you're doing that, we need to build up a vision and a mission statement. Moving on to vision and mission statements, they will help you define who your business is and where it's going. It's important to bring this across to a process of how do we build up this mission and vision statement. By bringing in your employees, that would be a great process because bringing in any other team members or employees will make them feel like they're inclined to have an impact within your business or brand. Also, speak to your customers to think about how you can align this. Firstly, we have a mission statement that states the business's core values and the purpose. Core values are the deepened held beliefs fed into the team that feeds them purpose and motivation, not motivation, but a mission. Let's give an example of this. An online tutor with a mission statement could be empowering academic excellence through personalized online tutoring that inspires students to reach their full potential. Perhaps as a boutique boot grooming business, your mission statement might be to give pets the best pamper and love them with style. Could be one of them. Next up, we've got a vision statement is express where your business is going. What are your goals? Act as a guide for your employees and your customers and yourself to have a statement, have a vision. So Nike's vision, for example, is to do everything possible to expand the human potential. Tesla's vision statement, for example, is to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. Your mission is made up of your mission, which is your core values and your purpose. Strategy is very much at the forefront of your mind when you're creating this statement. So let's dive straight in, and I want you to put this to play. What do you offer your customers? Why do you exist? Who do you serve? Who are your target customers? What makes your business unique? And what differentiates you from the other businesses? Now, before you try this out, let's go through an example together. Let's say you're starting off an online tutoring business for small children or school children. You offer a affordable online tutoring. Your customers are young learners, and you offer group and individual study based on learners' needs. Now that you build up the foundations of making this mission statement, you'll bring it all together. Our tutor might start off with, I offer affordable, tailored online learning to young students to maximize their potential. Think about your own statements. Hopefully, you're writing this down right now. And just a reminder for everybody, that is, maybe we're going quite a bit of a faster pace, just to let you know, you can all watch the recording of this particular live training for approximately 24 hours after today's session. Next up, we're going to jump into the vision statement. Now, next up, we need to define where's your business going. Remember, this can help you have a long-term strategy. Define how will you know when you've got there, and bring it all together. So we're going to give an example of this. Let's use our tutoring example that I spoke about just a few seconds ago. I want to be the best online tutoring business for students aged 8 to 10. How? Success will look like 90% pass rate for my students and an average grade of 75%. Bringing it all together, I want to build a learning environment where my students are confident and capable to achieve their full potential. Think about your own mission and vision statements. Think about those questions, write them down, and start to iterate this. This is not going to happen overnight, but once you've established this and a mission and a vision, you are going to have this, and then you're going to be able to translate that to your team members. Think about how to describe your business. Now that we've done that, let's work on how we can describe your business to customers. This would kind of be like in your About page section. So, who are you? What do you do? And what makes you unique? Let's start off with the first one, which is who are you? Or who you are. Your story. Who are you? How did your business start, for example? Who are the owners and the stakeholders? What problems do they solve? For example, we're a family-run bakery operating across England and Ireland since 2017. Our NPO started in 2020 to reduce the amount of waste from delivering packages across London. Think about who you are. Write it down and articulate that by typing it or writing it. Next one is, what do you do? This should be a clear outline of your products or your services that you provide. We can make custom order cakes, pastries, or pies for any occasion. We collect, we recycle, we redistribute delivery packages between shoppers and businesses. Articulate what you do with your business and how do you add value. Last one is, what makes you unique? What makes you stand out from all the other businesses? We offer a fresh, guaranteed, all-in-one products. We provide food kitchens with 10% that are all used by recycled packaging to help elevate overhead costs. Now, myself and Zoe won't be able to explain this and give it to you. This is something that you need to dig deep and start to write down as much as possible. Bringing this to life, once you've understood your description of who you are, what you do, what makes you unique, we're then going to add this to your social media. Adding it to your handle or your biography, bio, just say it for short, is firstly, your handle, which is essentially your username, needs to be unique, easy to remember, and avoid using numbers or random punctuation marks. If you can't find your name, what's being used, try using underscores or dashes to make sure that you still have just words rather than numbers. Now, first part of today's session, we looked at how we can build up those brand guidelines. Now we're going to, question there, should we embrace emojis? I love emojis. One from Anil, 100%. But again, make sure it's aligned with your brand values. Is it aligned with your brand guidelines? Some people may like it, some people may not. What are you looking to evoke? I love emojis and I would recommend it, but it's up to you. Jumping into the next part, which is, before we jump in, bring your brand to life across the web. How do we look at the funnel? So, understanding the customer's funnel. The brand funnel is a simple framework that helps to guide the business in engaging an audience to developing a basic brand strategy as its core. So, first of all, we have the awareness phase. How do we grab the attention of potential customers? Next up, we're going to look at the consideration once we've got their awareness, provide valuable information to influence their decision. Last but not least, we're going to look at the conversion. So how do we convert those interested customers or interested viewers or potential customers into actual customers? By understanding and implementing this brand funnel, businesses can effectively engage with your audience and develop a strong brand strategy. But maybe a lot of you are familiar with this funnel. So how do we now turn this funnel into a cycle, something that we can make sure it rotates on a regular basis? So a brand cycle comprises of a series of stages that your customer will typically go through when interacting with your brand, as if similar to a funnel, but a little bit more in detail to understand what is that cycle. So first and foremost, we're going to have the awareness, very similar to the funnel that we saw before. From that, we're then going to grab the interest of your customers. Once you grab the interest and the interest is piqued, individuals may move to the wards of expressing consideration towards your business, your products, or your services. Then from that consideration phase, we'll then hopefully move to the conversion, which will hopefully be buying your products, maybe getting in contact with you, whatever your conversion is. Then once they've bought your products, they're going to lean towards using that products. And if they've used that products, they're going to form an opinion of that product or service. Once they've formed an opinion of your product and services, then they're going to lean towards sharing this within social media. Well, hopefully they do. By understanding there's a simple funnel from awareness, consideration to conversion, now we've turned this into a cycle that hopefully we can cycle through and make sure we touch points at every point, be aware of each point of the customer's journey, which leads us on to looking at something that is a little bit messy, which is, it gets even messier than this when it comes to the customer's journey, and we call it the messy middle. So the way people make purchasing decisions is messy. It's only getting messier and messier, but still, based on some recent research Google conducted, we know some things about how people make a decision and about what they buy. We know that happens between the trigger And the purchase is not actually as linear as we saw in the previous slide. We know that it's a little bit more complicated with web touch points and decisions that differ from person to person. And we all know this, even those that are watching here today. The decision process is critically assesses listings presented to us. And this is referred to as the messy middle. Customers are expected, well, customers, when I say customers, that's you and me, by the way, we expect a more personalized result when we're looking for local results. For example, it could be the best products, or it could be which one has the best reviews, or it could be who's got the best deal or the best offers. A typical consumer might consider the decision in the following way. They experience a trigger. The consumer searches for a product or a business that have already been established and have an interest in your product or brand. Perhaps they may have seen an advert somewhere, or they've seen your post on social media, or they just need a problem that needs solving. For example, oh no, my kettle is broken, for example. That's my problem. They will then engage in both expansive exploration, which is increasing the choices and the amount of information. And once they've had that expansive exploration, they'll then lean towards a reductive exploration when they'll start narrowing down the choices and shortlisting to hopefully get to a decision that is reached. Even the brand that when a consumer has heard of has won a customer in the messy middle, using strategies like offering discounts, having good brand reviews, showing up at the right time, having limited stock or offers available to a few customers can have a great impact and allow your brand to stand out a lot more effectively. So think about that online purchase journey. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about this online journey, make sure you click in the link in the description below. There's another great online session called Get Your Business Visible on Google. And they go a little bit more in detail into this purchase journey. But the one thing I recommend you all take away from this is, as much as we all looking to create businesses, we should always think about our customers. What is that process from awareness to conversion? How do we facilitate that process? How do we improve that process? Next up, we're going to think about community groups. Groups and communities are a great way to connect with customers and provide key information about your brand and awareness. If you don't yet have a website, for example, groups can be a great place for you to start with reaching new customers. And if you do have a website, it's a great way for you to drive people to your website. They can be great places to reach people with specific interests and a specific area of a certain demographic. Let's say you're a business who handcrafts children's toys. You may want to search for parenting groups on Facebook in your area to drive awareness that your brand exists within that community. Keep in mind, always follow the rules of the groups that you join. Don't spam, and make sure you always follow those rules. With that, community groups you can lean on would be Facebook, for example, or Nextdoor. But community groups is a great way. It's not going to cost you anything, is to join these communities and start spreading the word about your business. Next one, chat and messages, which I'm a huge fan of, is how do we create a two-way conversation with your customers? Having an instant messaging service allows your businesses to connect with their customers. To use a chat feature, you will need to collect phone numbers, meaning that you're likely to have existing customers who are signing up for communication. This means direct messaging can be a great way to drive brand loyalty through special offers and promotions. You can also use messaging to set up chatbots for instant customer service. And this is a great way to provide an automated instant support, personalized support for complex tasks. Having a quick, helpful chat service can help you improve trust and loyalty. The caveat here would be, if you have a very personal touch with your customers, chatbots may not be the option, and they would prefer to have a real person. Keep that in consideration. But a couple of chatbots to think about would be Facebook Messenger, or perhaps WhatsApp, or last but not least, we have Google Business Profile. It could be emails, could be SMS. They're all great tools to create chats with your customers and create that two-way conversation. Community pages and chats, it may not be for everyone. Decide what works for your business. Make sure that you are using resources and managing your business along with your brand guidelines and make sure you hold that to make sure you have a consistent message. First, we're going to jump into short form content is usually videos or GIFs that are up to 60 seconds in length. They offer many ways to showcase your brand, whether it's an image or a share or a video sharing platform. A visual identity will help you instill that brand consistency. Sharing images or videos is a great way to catch the eye of your customers and create that consistent brand identity that you're looking to create. Instagram, for example, has the story feature. TikTok and YouTube have their shorts that you could potentially use, maybe not always shorts, but this is a great way for you to reach new customers and maybe customers that have never come across your brand before. Showcase your brand personality by reflecting on your brand guidelines and then drive engagement. And of course, along with short form content, you can add in long form content. Every day, people across the globe are watching over 1 billion hours of video. This includes entertainment, education, business. In 2018, 64% of creators' videos are 10 minutes long. Long form content is a great way for you to educate your followers, create loyal following, and for people that are interested in your brand or your products. On that note, YouTube is the biggest social media platform with over 2 billion monthly logged in users. More than 500 hours of content are uploaded to YouTube every minute. That's mind-blowing. Definitely tap into that because that'd be a great way for you to showcase your business. Now, I've mentioned this in many previous sessions, but LinkedIn's a great platform to showcase your brand. But if you do decide to have a LinkedIn profile, complete your profile. Recruiters on LinkedIn use a product called Recruiter, which allows them to search by title, location, and skills. Not only is it going to allow you to build up your personal brand, but maybe your business brand too. You can also request recommendations. So giving recommendations and endorsements notifies the user, which encourages the recommending, endorsing them back. So it's a great way to build that community, build up your followers, build up your audience by having that credibility when they lean on that profile, which clearly describes your business and your experience. And with this profile within LinkedIn, always make sure you are linking to your other profiles, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever other social media platforms you have an online presence with. Make sure you create your own ecosystem of how people can start to learn more about you within LinkedIn or other platforms, for example. Now, when it comes to newsletters and emails, I think the chat has been absolutely buzzing. Thank you so much, Zoe, for answering all those questions. We will be having questions at the very end. So if you have any questions throughout the duration of today's session, pop it into the chat, and hopefully I'll be jumping into that towards the end. But coming back to newsletters and emails, one of the primary reasons to use email marketing is how cost effective it is. In 2001, a study showed that the average return on investment for an email marketing was 3,600 times. That means every pound spent, a business would get back 36% revenue or sales. Newsletter can be a very, very simple way for you, in a cost-effective way for you to touch base with your customers. Creating newsletters in the way that's most allowing you to connect and tell your customers about your business, but also providing value and insight within your industry. So you can attract new customers, and newsletters are normally very mobile friendly. When I say very mobile friendly, they are probably mobile friendly. And most of us, let's face it, we're on the go. We have our phones, we're on trains, we're on buses, we're commuting. So this will allow customers to read these articles or newsletters on the go. Last one, when it comes to newsletters and emails, this could potentially improve the traffic to your website if that is your goal that you're looking to achieve. A couple of tools to help you with this would be MailChimp or Substack. I'm pretty sure Zoe will pop the link into the chat. Next to newsletters and emails, we have blogs and articles. If you are looking to establish your brand as a thought leader or an expert, blogs can be a great way to go. By using a brand tone of voice that we showed about earlier, blogs can create great content for all of your social media posts, and it could probably improve your search engine optimization. It can differentiate you from industry peers and educate your readers and create content for social media. So as much as you're creating blogs, don't think you just need to share about the blog. You can take parts of that blog and start popping that into your social media to drive traffic to your blog, which is essentially driving traffic to your website. Tips to grow your network would be post unique, high quality content. What we mean about this is that when we are looking to post on Facebook, for example, we need a high quality image along with the words to depict that image, but that's very connected to your customer. Connect with your audience, and this can be done on a regular basis by responding to comments or commenting on other customers' posts, for example, and being consistent. Now, this is normally a given, but being consistent will allow you to create that consistency and instill those brand guidelines that we spoke about so much in detail at the very beginning. When it comes down to consistency, we need to make sure that you are consistent, that's manageable. What can you sustainably do? So maybe you're going to have a post every Wednesday about a certain article, or Wednesday about a special offer, for example. Think about how you can instill this on a weekly basis and that can be repeated. Let's jump into the last part because you've only got 15 minutes left. So coming into the last part, using tools to optimize your brand online. So far, we've covered your brand guidelines. We looked at the design aspect. We looked at the personality. Then we looked at ways on how we can bring your brand to the online world. And we can do this in various ways. But once you've started to create the brand guidelines, you now know where to start creating content through newsletters, blogs, short form, long form content. How do we now create something that's sustainable and it's actually going to allow us to connect with our customers and actually tap into insights and trends? So the first part about the last section is, how do we find tools to find topics people are talking about? Well, there's a great tool that I'm going to recommend. It's called Insight Finder. Will help you gather the intent-based audience insights. Now, hopefully, Zoe will pop the link into the chat. But within these Insight Finder, you will find audience, industry trends, content, and action. First one is audience. Understanding the audience and the interest to uncover new segments. How can you speak to more potential customers? Next one is the industry part, which is exploring trends across a variety of categories to inform you of more strategic planning decisions in terms of where should you start posting more, maybe on a certain given platform because of that trend, because of that industry trend. Then we have content. Giving or better ways to explore YouTube content and finding key trends about what people around the world are watching. And lastly is the action. Giving your marketing insights impact and exporting them to slides and sheets, and discover audiences you can talk or you can directly target in Google Ads. The one thing to note when it comes to the Insight Finder, it's still a beta and it's not accessible to all users yet. As it's in beta mode, if you have a business account, you'll be able to access this tool. And thank you so much, Zoe, for popping that link into the chat. Next one is a tool that I use on a weekly basis, which is Google Trends. For those who haven't used Google Trends, it's a great tool for you to find out what people are searching for in any given country within a certain time frame. You can start comparing keywords and combinations of keywords to find out what's trending today. What's trending, what has been trending according to certain words. Now, it's not going to give you the exact amount of how many people search the specific term, but it's going to give you a popularity out of 100. And you can choose over a time frame, for example, in the United Kingdom, in the last 6 months, how many people were searching for personal trainer opposed to a personal bodybuilder, for example. And you can compare those keywords and you can get a real insight to what people are actually searching for. And when you can tap into that, then you can start tapping into the trends and hopefully getting your content distributed amongst a larger audience. Next one is tools to create content. Now, this is where the fun part starts, because we're going to look at how we can improve or increase your productivity when it comes to creating content. I know that's a sore point for many of us because it's very much a tedious and sometimes time-consuming effort. So, design with Canva. Once you know what you want to write about and it's time to start creating content, luckily, there's many tools out there that are readily available. Canva, for example, is a graphic and video creation site. Pop into the chat. Who's currently using Canva? I most definitely am, but I'm pretty sure many of us are. Pop it in the chat, either a simple yes or no. Are you using Canva? You can use upload your logo, your brand colors, and your fonts. So all of those brand guidelines that we spoke about before, once you have made a decision on those brand guidelines, you can input this within Canva and you can start creating consistent posts that make your life a little bit more easier. So Canva, Dimple is a big yes, and Neil's a big yes. Paul, no, not yet. Definitely check it out because it's got a new AI feature within it to help you. Now, leaning on AI is something that I could talk about for days because I've experimented with this tool for quite some time. Another way to speed up your content creation is through AI writing tools. One may have heard of ChatGPT or Google's experimental LLM or a conversational AI tool called Bard. The later is still in beta mode, of course, Bard, but it can be a great way for you to create content very seamlessly. If you want to learn a little bit more about how to create content using AI-powered tools or being more productive, I would highly, highly recommend you click in the link in the description below and find another great live training called Boost Your Productivity with AI. This will help you not only build your brand guidelines and start finding ways to be more creative, but it's going to help you be more productive. But without me getting too excited, at the moment, I highly recommend you jump into Bard. Now, apologies for putting you on the spot there, Zoe. If you could pop the link into Bard, that would be phenomenal. But Bard's going to be a great place for you to start creating content. Let's say, for example, you are a party planning business and you want to start writing a blog for your website and you have no idea where to start. Instead of starting from a blank screen, on screen, we have a simple prompt from Bard that you will input it within Bard, which is, how can I throw a fun children's birthday party? Then it's going to output a whole lot of great information and suggestions. You're going to take those suggestions and it's going to allow you to not start from scratch, but you can start creating a birthday party by thinking about sending out invitations, planning some activities, and so on and so forth. But experiment with it. It's an experimental conversational tool, and that's what I'd recommend you do. If you're ever thinking about brand guidelines, simply ask it, how do I create brand guidelines? Or if you're looking to create content for social media, is create an engaging post on LinkedIn about a certain topic, and then you can start ideating and ideating as well, but iterating that and saying, well, it's a little bit too long. Or you can tell Bard to create it more, to be more casual or to make it more formal, for example. Experiment, experiment, experiment. Then we're going to jump into make content creation more efficient. So how can we remix the content? How can we reuse content, images, or videos in different formats? If you're writing a blog, for example, how can you take experts or parts of that blog and start posting it about on social media, which is not only going to allow you to be consistent within social media and create content, but it's also got another purpose of driving traffic to your website. Next one is establish cadence for content while you're first starting out. An example of this would be maybe special offers on Tuesdays, reviews on Thursdays, or interviews on Saturdays. This will help you get in the habit of posting on a more regular basis and at higher rates, or I suppose more often is the word I'm looking for. Last one is create it in batches. Considering the tools that we just spoke about, for example, Canva and Bard, for example, how do you sit down on a Sunday and create a whole lot of content for the entire week? This could be blogs, this could be social media posts for LinkedIn, for Instagram, for Pinterest, for TikTok, whatever it may be. Once you've created a week's worth or a month's worth of content, you can focus on your business because you know it's ready there to go. But now, you want to take it a step further. Now that you've created a batch of content, how do you now post about it consistently without actually having to go, okay, I'm going to post now. I'm going to post tomorrow. I want to post Wednesday. Well, we've got a tip for you on that towards the end as well. Next one, try interactive media. Now, right now, we're on a live stream. The beauty of this is I and Zoe have had the ability to interact with you during today's session. I wish we could be here for many, many more hours, but within the hour, I've been able to see names, answer questions, see comments, and you've all been able to contribute towards today's session, which I really do appreciate. But when it comes to other social media platforms, how can you spark engagement? With polls, for example. Instagram stories, you can create a poll. On Twitter, also known as X, you can also create those polls. Creating short form temporary content on stories on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or Snapchat is going to allow you to create that extra element of interactivity. And as mentioned, live streaming, 8.2 billion, that's with a B, 8.2 billion hours of live streaming content was watched in the third quarter of 2021. Live streaming is one of the fastest growing content forms online. But now, once you've thought about that content, we now need to just take it a step further, because let's face it, all of you watching here today, you are all businesses. You have a business to run, not just to create content. So how do we think about tools to start scheduling that content? So tools that we're going to recommend would be Hootsuite, HubSpot, or Buffer. Scheduling tools will allow you to post and publish content even if you're not available. You can schedule publications of your posts before the time, which will automatically publish it to a chosen social media platform without having to do anything. So you can plan out your calendar once you've created a batch of content where you'd like to post it. And then using these tools, you can schedule it to post it on Monday in the evening or Wednesday or Tuesday. For example, let's say, for example, we need to take a holiday. I think many of us do need to take a holiday at some point. You can schedule all the posts for that week to maintain the consistency and visibility for your followers. Or you can recommend by playing with each of these and find the one that works out best for you. Some of them may be a little bit more complicated or a little bit more advanced, but find a tool that works for you so you can start scheduling posts on a regular basis. And thank you so much, Zoe, for popping those links within the chat. Tools to measure the brand performance. This is the last part of today's session. For anybody that's still here, thank you so much for your undivided attention. We've got a few minutes to go. So when it comes to, we've created the content. We've created the brand guidelines. You've looked at creating your content. You looked at creating consistency with your content and bringing it to life within the online world. The last part is, how do we now be guided by the insights? Instead of just blindly posting and hoping for the best and praying that we get engagement and people start to like it, how do we now tap into the insights? So track brand mentions across the web. Once you've got the post and the content published, it's important to track and measure the performance. This will allow you to improve your strategy month on and month on and month on. Tools like Google Analytics and Social Insights can give you a great insight to what resonates with your audience and what doesn't, for example. While we don't have time to dive into the further details of this, I would highly recommend you click on the link in the description below for 2 other great live trainings called Digital Marketing Strategy or Get Started with Analytics. I believe it's Finding Insights through Analytics. But jump into those and you'll learn a little bit more about how do we take these analytics and translate it so we can start improving our businesses. Another 2 tools that I would highly recommend you jump into is Google Alerts. This is going to save you so much time. Google Alerts tracks mentions of a name or information about the news and products and emails you'd like to be updated. So all you're going to do is you're going to go to Google Alerts and you're going to type in the words that you would like to be alerted about. The words that you can use is your company name, maybe your own personal name, and maybe something you'd like to learn more about. For example, I have generative AI as a Google Alert. So anything major happens in the news about generative AI, I get informed and Google pops me an email and says, here's all the articles about generative AI. This will allow you to keep track of your brand and learn about what people are talking about. The second part is a great tool called Social Mention. It's a simple to use social media search tool that aggregates user-generated content from across the internet into a single stream of information. It's a social media monitoring tool that allows you to track and measure what people are saying about your brand anywhere in the globe in real time. Again, I'd recommend that you play around with these tools and find out which ones are more beneficial to you. Now, we've spoken about a lot. Let's see, we're going to have fun and be authentic. Which form of content you choose and however you choose to mold it, just remember to have fun. I had so much fun delivering this session and I really hope you gained some valuable insights. I'm going to see if there's any questions. I haven't seen any questions as of yet. Pop it in there while I'm wrapping up today's session. But I believe Zoe, our wonderful moderator, has been answering all your questions, which I'm hugely grateful. So I appreciate that. Let's see if there's any other questions from Anil. But while you do that, thinking about those questions is, there from Anil. I'm looking to start a creative and digital marketing agency. I want to start a food blog to showcase in the agency. Any tips or advice outside what's been discussed are welcome. That's a great comment. But to be perfectly honest, Anil, what I'd recommend you do is go through the process of what we've spoken about today. Then if you are in the UK, maybe you can book into a free one-to-one mentoring session. Hopefully Zoe will pop that link into the chat and you can start having a little bit more of a detailed explanation around that. But I really, really do appreciate all of your feedback. If you could take out your phones right now, scan that QR code, fill out that form. It's going to take you a few minutes. It would mean the world to me, Zoe, and the team to know your feedback so we can improve moving forward. And hopefully you are all doing this with your own customers and your audience is constantly asking for feedback to learn more. Pop the feedback in there. Let us know what you learned about today's session within the chat. But I've run out of time. I'm already 1 minute over. So I'd say a big, big thank you to everyone that's joined here today. Remember, the recording will be available for approximately 24 hours. You can revisit it, rewind, fast forward, and really absorb the information at your own pace. But I'm already 1 minute over. So I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone. Really do appreciate your engagement. Make sure you look after yourself. Make sure you look after each other. And I would say bye for now.